What's good? It's your boy JayThat'sMe. We're going to get into TNA Impact from March the 20th, 2025. Spring is officially here. So happy spring to everybody. So before we get into the review, Frankie Kazarian was on the Briscoe and Bradshaw podcast. Where he stated that TNA is actively shopping for a TV deal. And he seems to think that there's a possibility that TNA could end up on Paramount. And I'm just like, what are you talking about, bro? No. There's no way that's going to happen. All right? Because Frankie Kazarian is not thinking. He's not. Come on now. I could only see them on 3 viable places. I could see them on the USA Network. I could see them on the CW. And I could see them on Sci-Fi. I think Sci-Fi and USA Network, those two are very plausible for TNA. Those are actually very doable for TNA. Same thing with the CW, but I don't know if the CW wants more wrestling. I don't know. But that would bring TNA a bigger audience. You would be on broadcast television, where both the Sci-Fi channel, as well as the USA Network, those are cable. So it's fine. I just think that they'll probably end up being on cable versus being on broadcast television. They're not ready for that. They could be if they were to get the right talent. I'm talking about like your Mandy Rose, Baron Corbin, Daria, aka Sonya Deville. So you have to have heavy hitters to probably get on the CW network. You would have to do a lot more with the NXT crossover that they're doing. So I don't know, but TNA on Sci-Fi would be fine. And if TNA were to go to the USA Network, that would be fine too. But those are the only 3 plausible places I see them going to. Because they've done Pop TV, they've done Pursuit, they did Destination America, so and they've done Access for the past 6 years. So it is what it is, but I'm hoping that they end up getting a TV deal. Maybe not this year, but definitely next year. Because there are some talent that they need to get rid of. But I'm hoping TNA does get a deal either at the end of this year or definitely early next year. So we'll have to wait and see. So we kick the show off with Masha Slamovich. Masha gets on the mic and says that Cora Jade stepped up and brought the fight, but it wasn't enough, and she's still TNA Knockouts World Heavyweight Champion. She travels around the world with the title and reps TNA with great pride. And she's been on a mission to prove everyone that she's the toughest in the division. But now she has a new mission, and that is to prove to the world that she's the best champion in all of wrestling. That belt proves it. She'll defend it against anyone, anytime, anywhere. So Tessa Blanchard comes out to boos, which is great. She says that Masha loves to talk, but she could spend less time. She should spend less time talking and more time when she gets dressed in the morning. Tessa says she could beat Cora with her eyes closed, and you could add her name to the conversation about the best in the world because she beat the best. She's done things that Masha has and never will. Tessa says it's time that she beats Masha and takes back what's hers. So Masha then gets into the ring Jacy Jayne from NXT shows up. She beats up Masha Slamovich, which is great. She attacks her. So Santino Marella, he shows up. He says that he kept character as long as the fans chant his name. He says, what do they think is going to go on here? He says all he knows about Jacy Jayne is this is not how they conduct themselves in TNA. But if Jacy Jayne's looking for a fight, then he'll make it happen. And so next week it's going to be Masha Slamovich versus Jacy Jayne. So Santino Marella also said that the world doesn't revolve around Tessa, and she's banned from ringside next week. Nice. Okay, cool. Interesting stuff. All right, moving on. Well, no, before we move on, it seems like they're setting up Tessa versus Masha Slamovich. That's fine. That's great. So, who should win this match? I think it's a little bit too early for Tessa to win, honestly. I think that this should turn into an actual feud. So, I'll say Masha wins at Rebellion, and then Tessa becomes the champion at Slammiversary, which is in July. I almost said June, but July, which is fun. I like this. This is interesting, but you don't want to run the risk of having Masha just flat out lose to Tessa Blanchard. Even though it's Rebellion, you kind of want to save that for Slammiversary, in my opinion. That's what I would do. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Moving on. First match of the night, the Rascals, they defeat the Northern Armory. Who cares? Post-match, Eric Young got involved, but Ace Austin came down with a steel chair, and everyone got out of Dodge, that being the Northern Armory. Who cares? Fuck this shit. Moving on. So, Gia Miller, she's backstage with Xia Brookside. And she mentions the mist that got into the eyes of Xia Brookside. Xia says she's fine. She says there's no permanent damage, but she can still feel it. Xia says every time she tries to fight fair, someone takes advantage, but when she doesn't, that happens. Mentioning, what happened with the chain last week. So, Xia Brookside says Rosemary's trying to get into her head. So Rosemary appears on the Titantron. So Rosemary asks if Xia Brookside understands at last, and notes that she hesitated just like she did when she wrestled against Savannah Evans. Xia Brookside says she didn't, and Rosemary says to stop because she hesitates, who is lost. Rosemary says this world rewards ruthlessness against kindness, and Xia's morals will be split back at her feet, and she'll find herself staring at the abyss, wondering what it's like to just let go. She then tells Xia Brookside to get a partner and meet her in the ring because she has a surprise and wonders if Xia will take her revenge when it's been gift wrapped. And then Xia says she's got the perfect partner in mind. Okay, that's fine. And it ends up being Xia Li. So that's fine. That makes perfect sense. So we get some first class nonsense. And so AJ Francis says that he doesn't understand how El Paso got a second episode of the Penthouse, and there's not a single person in this town who deserves to be on first class. So Chavo Guerrero Jr., he shows up. So Chavo says that this is the 915, and hold on. And the Guerrero family is always here. So we get some really good chants of Eddie. And Chavo got a really good reaction, obviously. So AJ Francis says, whoever wrestled in WCW needs to sit down before they get hurt. If he wanted the second best Guerrero in the first class penthouse, he'd have called Dominic. Chavo says they're waiting to find out if Dom is a Guerrero, which is funny. That's good stuff there. AJ's tired of all these old timers coming out and dissing his show. So Frankie Kazarian's sorry ass shows up. He comes out with his trophy. So he gets on the mic and says that he's gross, that being AJ Francis and Casey Navarro. AJ, no, my bad. Frankie Kazarian says that AJ could have invited anyone, but why did he invite Chavo Guerrero? He says he and Chavo still have heat between them because of how Chavo and Hernandez stole the titles back when Christopher Daniels was still in the promotion. I think this was like 2012 or something like that or whatever. I wasn't paying attention. Not really that important. Frankie Kazarian says since Chavo's been gone, Frankie calls the shots and is the king of TNA. As the king of TNA, he has informed Chavo that even though he's from this dump, he's not welcome in Frankie's house. And then Frankie tells him to go home. Chavo says he's been watching and Frankie's doing a great job. Frankie can talk smack about him, but he draws the line when talking smack about El Paso. AJ says that this is his show, and there's 3 of them, and one of Chavo. He needs to do the math, and the numbers aren't mathing, basically. So Chavo says his math is off because there's one in him, but there's 3,000 more in the crowd, which is great. So out come the Aztec Warriors, which is Pentagon. No, my bad. Octagon Jr. and the Laredo Kid. Okay, cool. That's fine there. And they all stare each other down, and Chavo then sets up stuff for a Lucha Libre style match next week. So basically no tags. Okay, that's fine there. Moving on. This leads us into Mike Santana versus Mustafa Ali. A rematch from Sacrifice. Mustafa Ali walks out towards the end of the match. And he gets counted out. So this is fine there. It makes perfect sense. They are now 1-1. Clearly they're going to do the rematch at Rebellion. So why not? This is fine to me. This is fine. Really, really good shit here. Moving on. So Ryan Nemeth, he shows up. He says that he's the greatest brother in the world. He says that Nic Nemeth finally did the right thing. So then Nic Nemeth shows up. He gets a really good reaction. When I mean good reaction, I'm talking about being booed very loudly. He tells everyone to shut up for a second. He'd like to say a few words. He goes on to talk about how people have been talking about TNA again for the last past year. I mean, about TNA again for the past year. Nemeth says he connects that to when he arrived on the scene. Then he brings up the Hardys sneakily coming in and taking credit. So Leon Slater shows up. He calls them crazy, and he says that someone needs to step up next week, and then he's going to beat Nic Nemeth's ass right here, right now. So a brawl breaks down between everybody, and then Nic Nemeth beats the shit out of Leon Slater. Okay, this is fine. This makes sense. Moving on. Zaya Brookside and Lee Ying Lee, a.k.a. Zaya Lee, they defeat the team of Rosemary and Savannah Evans. All right, that's fine. Rosemary accidentally misted Savannah Evans in the eyes. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Moving on. So this leads us into the championship celebration by Elegance. So George Iceman, he shows up. He's got a neck brace on. He's the personal concierge. So he introduces Heather and Ash by Elegance. He says that it's going to be completed with a $4,000 cake and some beefcake models. So Ash wants her cake to be brought over. She kneels down to make a wish. The lights go out. So then Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, they show up. They apparently cross the line, and they have some words. They bicker back and forth. Jody Threat and Denny and Luna Spitfire, they show up. They do the same thing. Then Chemical X, which is Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley, they come out and they say they want the shot at the titles. So Ash by Elegance then throws a fit, and then Gigi tells her to kiss her ass, that being Ash by Elegance. And so it's a massive brawl that breaks out. And then this sets up a match that's going to take place next week. It's going to be non-title, obviously. It's going to be the Elegance brand versus Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. And both Jakara Jackson and Spitfire are banned from ringside. Okay, cool. Good shit there. Good shit. I am glad that JC Jane and company are being used. The same thing goes with Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan. And I think if Gigi Dolan was not in WWE, she would definitely be in TNA. Because her fiance works there. So, yeah. All right. Moving on. So this leads us into Mance Warner defeating a Jabba named Magno. So he wins via a big lariat, and then he hits a knee strike, and that was it. Okay, that's fine there. Well, I really don't care about the Mance Warner situation. I don't. What I'm saying is, he's okay, but I really wish that he was not the big reveal. I wish that it would have been somebody like a Baron Corbin. That would have been better in my opinion, but it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it now. Okay. But what does he do going forward? Because him being paired up with Sami Callihan is not good. That's a fucking death sentence, basically, if you're a pro wrestler and you have to deal with Sami Callihan. Oof, that's a fucking death sentence. Moving on. So we get a vignette of Steve Maclin. So he makes it clear that he didn't like the look that he saw in Eric Young's eyes, and that he never wanted or needed Eric Young's help, and that he will not join the Northern Armory. Who cares about this shit? I don't care about Steve Maclin, and I don't care about Eric Young and the Northern Armory. Can we please just put all those guys somewhere else, like NWA or MLW or somewhere else, please? I'm fucking tired of this shit. Moving on, main event of the evening, Hendry and Elijah. They defeat the System, Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards. Fuck this shit. So, there's that. I'm glad that Hendry and Elijah, they won. Makes perfect sense. What's Joe Hendry going to do for Rebellion? I have no idea. It's in 5 weeks' time, so they've got some time, but not a whole bunch of time. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to end up doing the Nemeth Brothers versus the Hardys. That should be fine there. So that should be interesting. They're definitely going to do Masha Slamovich and Tessa Blanchard. That's going to definitely happen for sure. And I don't know what else they're going to do, because Joe Hendry needs some feuds, but I don't know what he would do. I don't know who he could feud with. I was thinking they were going to do Nic Nemeth and Joe Hendry Part 3, But I guess they're going to hold off on that. Maybe they might do that in May. I don't know. They could do that at a show that TNA is doing the week of WrestleMania called Unbreakable. So I don't know. They could do the rematch there, but I wouldn't do that. I would much rather do the Hardys versus the Nemeth Brothers on that show. But we'll have to wait and see how that's going to play out. But all in all, TNA was okay for the most part, but it could have been better. But what did you guys think? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.